before you listen, I want you to do one small thing. Look at the screen for a second. Which country are you watching this from? And what time is it right now in your country? Type it in the comments, because if you're watching this late at night, when everything is quiet, when the world has slowed down, when no one is asking how your heart is doing, then this message is not random. Most people are asleep right now, but your heart is awake. And that's not by accident. Allah often speaks to hearts when the noise is gone, when distractions are low, when defenses are down. If you've been feeling different lately, less attached, more tired, more distant from things that once mattered, this is not burnout. It's not weakness. It's not you losing your way. It's Allah testing something inside you before He changes something around you. So stay with me. Don't skip this, because by the end of this message, you'll understand why your heart has been feeling heavy without knowing why, and why Allah chose this exact moment to reach you. Allah removes the taste before He removes the thing. Sometimes Allah tests your heart in a way so soft that you almost miss it. Nothing dramatic happens. Nothing ends suddenly. No big argument. No clear goodbye. Yet something inside you changes. There was a time when this thing mattered to you more than you realized. You looked forward to it. You thought about it often. It had a place in your heart. And then, slowly, that place started feeling uncomfortable. You didn't plan it. You didn't decide to grow distant. You didn't tell yourself to stop caring. It just happened. The excitement didn't hit the same anymore. The joy felt thinner. The attachment felt heavier than before, and that confused you. Because from the outside, nothing looks wrong. But inside, your heart no longer responds the way it used to. You replay moments in your mind and ask yourself, why am I not feeling what I felt before? Why does my heart feel tired instead of happy? Why does something that once felt right now feel like effort? And you start blaming yourself. You think maybe you changed too much. Maybe you became distant. Maybe you lost your softness. But that's not the truth. This is not your heart becoming cold. This is Allah gently intervening. Allah does not always remove things suddenly. Sometimes He removes the sweetness first, because Allah knows something you do not. Allah knows when something is no longer good for your soul, even if your heart hasn't realized it yet. So instead of breaking your heart all at once, Allah prepares it. He slowly loosens the emotional grip. He slowly quiets the feelings. He slowly takes away the taste, not to punish you, not to harden you, but to protect you. Because if Allah removed that thing while your heart was still deeply attached, the pain would crush you. So Allah shows mercy before the pain even arrives. That dull feeling you're experiencing, that strange emotional distance, that lack of excitement, it's not emptiness. It's Allah slowly teaching your heart how to let go without shattering. And this is why it feels confusing, because you expected loss to feel loud. You expected detachment to feel dramatic. You expected change to feel clear. But Allah's mercy often comes quietly. It comes as numbness. It comes as tiredness. It comes as a feeling you can't explain. And you sit there wondering, why do I feel like this when nothing bad happened? Something did happen. Allah stepped in. Allah saw something ahead on your path that your heart could not see yet. And instead of letting you walk into pain unprepared, He slowed your heart down. You might feel guilty for not feeling the same anymore. You might feel confused about why you're not as attached. You might even feel scared, thinking, what if I'm losing my ability to love? But you're not losing your heart. Allah is guarding it. There is a difference between losing love and being gently detached by Allah. Losing love leaves bitterness. Allah's detachment leaves peace, even if it feels strange at first. And yes, sometimes it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels empty. Sometimes it feels like something is missing. But what's actually happening is that Allah is removing what was quietly draining you. Not everything that feels familiar is meant to stay. Not everything that once felt sweet is meant to remain. And Allah, in His kindness, does not rip things away suddenly, unless He must. He eases the heart out slowly. This is why, even though you feel less attached, you don't feel destroyed. You feel confused, but still standing. You feel numb, but not broken. That's because Allah is doing the separating, not you. And when Allah separates something from your heart, He does it with mercy. He softens the blow. He cushions the fall. He prepares the soul. One day, when you look back, you'll realize that the pain you feared never came the way you imagined, because Allah didn't let it. He reduced the impact by reducing the attachment, and what feels like loss now will later feel like protection. You'll understand that Allah was not taking something away to leave you empty. He was clearing space. Space for peace. Space for something better. Space for something that won't drain your soul. But right now, in this moment, all you feel is the confusion. And that's okay, because even confusion can be mercy when it's guided by Allah. Allah tests the heart in ways you cannot explain to people. Sometimes Allah tests your heart in ways you cannot explain to anyone. From the outside, your life looks normal. You are still functioning, still responding, still showing up. People talk to you and assume you're fine. They see your face, but they don't feel your chest. They hear your words, but they don't hear the silence inside you. You want to explain what you're going through, but every time you try, the words fall apart. So you stop trying, not because you don't want help, but because you don't even know how to describe the weight. It's not one clear problem. It's not one clear pain. It's a feeling that sits quietly and presses on your heart, and that makes you feel lonely. Not the kind of loneliness that comes from being alone, but the kind that comes from being surrounded and still feeling unseen. You sit in rooms full of people and feel distant. You scroll, you talk, you smile, but something inside you feels disconnected. And you ask yourself, why do I feel like this? Why can't I explain what hurts? Why does my heart feel heavy for no clear reason? This is not weakness. This is a heart being tested privately. Allah does not give every test a clear shape. Some tests come without names, without explanations, without visible wounds, because this kind of test is not meant to be carried with people. It is meant to pull you inward. It is meant to quiet the noise, so you finally hear what your heart has been avoiding. Allah sometimes makes your struggle invisible, so you stop seeking validation from people and start seeking comfort from Him. When people don't understand you, when they minimize your feelings, when they say things like, "You'll be fine. It's not that serious. Just move on." It hurts. But Allah is not dismissing you. He is inviting you into a deeper conversation with Him, because there are pains that cannot be healed by advice. There are feelings that cannot be fixed by words. They need presence, and Allah is always present. That quiet heaviness you feel late at night when everyone is asleep and your heart suddenly feels loud, that is not random. That is the moment. Allah gives your heart space to speak. This is why the test feels isolating, because Allah is gently pulling your attention away from the world and back toward Him, not to punish you, not to break you, but to realign you. Sometimes Allah allows you to feel misunderstood, so you remember that even if the whole world misunderstands you, He never does. Sometimes Allah lets people fail you emotionally, so you stop leaning on them for what only He can give. And yes, this hurts. It hurts to feel like no one really gets you. It hurts to feel like you're carrying something alone. It hurts to feel unseen. But this pain has purpose, because when your heart realizes that people cannot fully carry it, it finally turns fully to Allah. And that turn, that quiet return, is what Allah wants for you. You may feel distant from people right now. You may feel less interested in conversations. You may feel withdrawn. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means your heart is going through something sacred, a transformation that doesn't need witnesses. Not every season of your life is meant to be shared. Some seasons are meant to be survived quietly, while Allah works deeply inside you. One day, when this test passes, you'll notice something changed. You'll be calmer, more grounded, less dependent on approval, more connected to Allah. And you'll realize that this lonely season was not emptiness. It was intimacy. Allah was teaching your heart how to rest in Him when nothing else made sense. And even though you couldn't explain it to anyone, Allah understood every part of it. You feel tired, but you are still standing. There are times when your heart feels exhausted, in a way sleep cannot fix. You rest, but you don't feel refreshed. You slow down, but the heaviness stays. You wake up tired, and you go to bed tired, and you ask yourself, why am I so drained when I'm not doing anything wrong? Why does everything feel like effort? Why does my heart feel weak, even when I'm trying? This is one of the clearest signs that Allah is testing your heart, because when Allah tests the heart, He does not always give ease. Instead, He gives enough strength to continue. You don't feel strong. You don't feel motivated. You don't feel confident. Yet somehow, you keep going. You still wake up. You still show up. You still make dua, even if it's short. You still turn back to Allah, even if you're confused. That quiet ability to continue is not coming from you. If Allah wanted you to stop, your heart would have collapsed already. If Allah wanted you to give up, you would have walked away without resistance. The fact that you're still standing, even tired, even unsure, even weak, means Allah is holding your heart together. And this kind of test feels frustrating, because you expect tests to look dramatic. You expect either strength or failure. But this test lives in between. You feel like you're barely surviving, yet you're not falling apart. You feel close to quitting, yet something stops you every time. That something is Allah. Allah tests the heart by removing comfort, but not removing support. He lets you feel tired, so you learn where your strength actually comes from. Because when everything feels easy, you think you're strong on your own. But when everything feels heavy, and you still move forward, you realize it was never you carrying yourself. Allah was carrying you all along. This is why this season feels confusing. You're doing your best, yet you don't feel rewarded. You're trying to be patient, yet relief feels delayed. You think, if Allah is with me, why is this so hard? But Allah never promised ease during tests. He promised presence, and His presence is the reason you're still breathing through this. Some nights you feel like crying, but the tears don't even come. Some days you feel numb, but you still function. This is not emotional failure. This is emotional endurance. Allah is teaching your heart how to move without motivation, how to stay upright without comfort, how to remain soft without feeling strong. This is a rare kind of strength, not the loud strength that impresses people, the quiet strength that survives when no one is clapping. And one day, when this test passes, you'll look back and realize something powerful. You didn't win because you were strong. You survived because Allah did not let go of you. This season is not about speed. It's not about achievement. It's not about visible success. It's about resilience. It's about proving not to people, but to yourself, that even in weakness, your heart still belongs to Allah. And that is why, even when you feel tired beyond words, you are still standing, not because you have energy, but because Allah is giving you exactly the strength you need for this moment, and not a drop more. Your du'as become honest instead of polished. There comes a point in a test when your du'as stop sounding the way they used to. Before, you tried to say the right words. You tried to sound grateful. You tried to sound patient. You tried to sound strong. You would carefully choose what to say to Allah, almost as if you were worried about saying the wrong thing. But then the test grows heavier. The waiting grows longer, and something inside you changes. You stop pretending. Your du'as become shorter, quieter, more honest. Sometimes all you can say is, Ya Allah, and then silence. Sometimes the words don't even come out. Your heart just feels heavy, and you sit there hoping Allah understands. And He does. This is one of the deepest ways Allah tests and purifies the heart. Because Allah is not testing how beautifully you can speak. He is testing how real you can be with Him. When the heart is tired, it no longer has energy for fake strength. You stop asking for things the way you used to. You stop making long lists. You stop explaining everything. Instead, your dua becomes simple. Ya Allah, I'm tired. Ya Allah, I don't understand. Ya Allah, please don't leave me like this. And sometimes, you don't even ask for solutions anymore. You just ask to survive. This is not a weak dua. This is a mature dua, because it comes from a heart that has stopped performing and started surrendering. Allah loves this kind of honesty, not because He didn't already know what you felt, but because you finally stopped hiding it from Him. Some nights you sit with your hands raised and tears fall without warning. Other nights you feel dry, empty, unable to cry at all. Both are heard. Allah hears the tears. Allah hears the silence. Allah hears the dua you couldn't put into words. And sometimes Allah delays the answer, not because He isn't listening, but because this raw connection is changing your heart more than the answer ever could. You may feel embarrassed for the way you speak to Allah now. You may think, I shouldn't complain. I should be more grateful. I should sound stronger. But Allah does not want a polished voice. He wants a present heart, a heart that comes to Him without masks, without rehearsed words, without pretending everything is fine. This is why your du'as feel different, because Allah is peeling layers off your heart. Layer by layer, He is removing pride, removing self-reliance, removing the need to appear okay, until all that remains is a servant speaking honestly to their Lord. And this honesty heals you in ways you don't see yet. It softens the heart. It releases pressure. It builds closeness. You may not see immediate change in your situation, but something inside you is shifting. Your heart is learning that Allah is not someone you perform for. He is someone you lean on. And one day, when you look back, you will realize that these quiet, broken du'as were the moments Allah came closest to you. Not when you had everything together, but when you had nothing left except honesty. So, if your du'as feel raw right now, if your words feel messy, if your prayers feel more like whispers than speeches, don't stop. This is not a bad sign. This is the heart being purified in Allah's presence. And Allah never turns away. A heart that comes to Him without pretending. Allah separates you from what was quietly draining you. Another sign, Allah is testing your heart. Sometimes Allah tests your heart by removing people, plans, and paths you never expected to lose. Not suddenly, not loudly, but quietly. A conversation ends. A connection fades. A door closes without explanation. At first, you don't understand it. You replay everything in your mind, trying to figure out what you did wrong. You wonder, was it my fault? Did I say something wrong? Did I not try hard enough? And the uncertainty hurts. Because there was comfort there. There was familiarity. There was something your heart leaned on. But Allah saw something your heart could not see. Allah saw what was slowly draining you. Some things do not hurt you all at once. They weaken you quietly. They take your energy. They take your peace. They take your focus. And because the damage is slow, you don't notice it until your heart feels heavy all the time. So Allah steps in, not because you were ungrateful, not because you failed, but because your heart matters to Him. Allah sometimes separates you from what you are emotionally attached to before it empties you completely. And yes, this separation hurts. It hurts because you didn't ask for it. It hurts because you didn't see it coming. It hurts because you still care. But pain does not always mean harm. Sometimes pain is proof that Allah is protecting you from something worse. You may feel lonely now. You may feel disconnected. You may feel like something important is missing. But what if what left was blocking what was meant to come? What if Allah removed that connection to make room for clarity? What if Allah closed that door to stop you from shrinking yourself in places you were never meant to stay. Not every loss is a punishment. Some losses are redirection. Allah knows when something is no longer serving the heart He is shaping, and when Allah removes something, He removes it completely, even if the heart still tries to hold on. This is why this season feels uncomfortable. Your heart is adjusting to an emptiness it didn't choose, but that emptiness is not meant to stay empty. Allah clears space before He fills it, and while you're waiting, He teaches you something important, that your peace should not depend on people, that your stability should not depend on circumstances, that your worth should not be tied to who stayed or who left. This is a hard lesson, because we naturally want connection. We naturally want familiarity. We naturally want to be understood. But Allah is teaching your heart how to stand without leaning on what was never meant to hold you. You may feel like you're alone right now, but you're not abandoned. You're being repositioned. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that what left had already done its job. It taught you, it tested you, it revealed you, and Allah removed it before it could hurt you further. This separation is not the end of your story. It's the moment Allah stepped in and said, "This is enough." And that, even though it hurts, is mercy in action. Dunya loses its shine and meaning feels closer. There comes a time when the world no longer feels the way it used to. Nothing is wrong on the surface. Life continues. People move forward, but inside you, something has shifted. The things that once excited you now feel empty. The noise that once distracted you no longer works. You still participate in life, but your heart is no longer chasing it. And this confuses you. You wonder, why don't I feel motivated like before? Why doesn't success feel satisfying? Why does everything feel temporary now? This is not laziness. This is not sadness. And this is not failure. This is Allah testing your heart by changing what it responds to. Allah does this when He is preparing the heart for something deeper. Because before Allah fills a heart with light, He empties it of illusions. Illusions that happiness comes from noise. Illusions that fulfillment comes from applause. Illusions that peace comes from chasing more. So Allah gently removes the shine, not to punish you, but to wake you up. This is why you feel less interested in things that once mattered. Your heart is outgrowing them, and outgrowing something always feels uncomfortable at first. You may feel disconnected from people. You may feel misunderstood. You may feel like you no longer fit in places you once belonged. That's because Allah is changing the direction of your heart. He is teaching it to look beyond the temporary. He is teaching it to crave meaning instead of excitement. This is why silence feels different now. It doesn't feel boring. It feels necessary. This is why solitude feels heavier, but also strangely peaceful. This is why your heart now asks questions it never asked before. What is the purpose of all this? Where is my life really going? What kind of person is Allah shaping me into? These questions are not accidents. They are signs of awakening. Allah allows the world to lose its shine, so your heart can finally see clearly. Because when the dunya is loud, the soul goes unheard. So Allah lowers the volume. And yes, this stage can feel scary, because you don't feel driven the way you used to. You don't feel excited the way you used to. You don't feel attached the way you used to. But you are not losing yourself. You are being redirected. The heart that no longer chases is a heart being refined. The heart that feels unsatisfied is a heart being prepared. One day, Allah will replace this restlessness with clarity. He will replace this emptiness with purpose. He will replace this quiet confusion with a deep, steady peace. And when that happens, you'll understand why Allah had to dim the world first. Because some hearts cannot see the light of the Akhirah while they are blinded by the shine of the dunya. So, if the world feels less important right now, if your heart feels drawn to meaning instead of noise, if you feel like you are standing between who you were and who you are becoming, this is not a loss. This is growth guided by Allah. And Allah never guides a heart toward emptiness. He guides it toward something eternal. Before you leave, I want you to take a breath. If this message felt personal, it's because Allah knows exactly where your heart is right now. Nothing you've been feeling has been wasted. Not the confusion, not the tiredness, not the quiet nights where you felt different but couldn't explain why. Every moment of patience, every silent tear, every time you kept going, even when your heart felt weak, Allah saw it all. And if Allah tested your heart, it's because your heart matters to Him. He doesn't test hearts to break them. He tests them to prepare them. So don't rush your healing. Don't pressure your heart to feel normal again. This season is shaping you into someone stronger, softer, and closer to Allah than you've ever been. If you're still here, if you listened until the end, then this is your reminder. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. Allah is still working on your heart. And when the time comes, you will look back at this season and realize this was the moment Allah was quietly rewriting you. May Allah ease your heart, strengthen your patience, and replace every heaviness with a peace you didn't even know you needed. Amen.